Welcome to Girl Talk. Thanks for joining us. Today we have a special guest host with us. This is Lauren Reel stepping in for our empty seat here. Thanks for joining us, Laura.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Lauren's one of our new additions over at CW, and this is your first week.
It is. It's been wonderful so far. It's been so much fun, learning so much. I am really happy to be part of it.
Very good.
Yeah,
Welcome.
Thanks for having me, ladies.
Yeah, and everyone is so nice.
Oh,
here.
the best. The best.
Well, especially the Girl
yeah, especially those Girl Talk hosts. They're great.
We do have a great show today. We have some really good information. We'll be talking with Tim O'Brien. He's from Apple Wellness, which is in Fitchburg over by the Super Target.
Right.
I've been into his store, and
Yeah.
you know, one of the cool things that he'll do that I did is I kind of brought in my stuff, my vitamins and things that I've been taking, and say, here.
Yeah, this is what I'm using.
Is this any good? And he's so knowledgeable, and I really liked that he didn't upsell. He's like, well, this one's good. When this runs out, you might want to consider this.
Right.
Depending on your budget, here's this or this. You know, because
Definitely.
you can't always get the Cadillac version of.
And I feel like you can walk in there with concerns that you may have for yourself or that's hereditary in your
Exactly.
family, or like, how can I take some preventative maintenance?
Exactly.
And he can set you up with something great.
It's such a wellness
So
experience
knowledgeable.
versus a sales experience. You know, he really cares about like full body health and taking that holistic approach, which is amazing and so important.
Yeah, the topic
such-
specifically today is chronic inflammation, and that's kind of been a
definitely.
buzzword in the medical community. And
right, which I had no idea
Right?
how important it is. And you'd think that it's just from, I sprained my ankle and it's swollen. But
Like
it's
visible
not,
inflammation,
right.
but there's all this internal stuff going on that you might not even know about, and I think that's just a result of like a lot of the lifestyle things we have going on today.
Right.
It is. In fact, I've heard that it actually can affect the aging process quite a bit. It has quite an impact on it. And so they've changed the, sort of jokingly, it's inflammation to aging, something like that.
I'm definitely in trouble.
We better listen up. We better listen up.
So you want to stay tuned for that. We're also meeting with the Master Geek from Madison Geeks. They're over on Odana Road. Kalal Cunningham. He is treasure trove of information, and it is so
Yeah.
hard to keep up with technology
I
these
know.
days, isn't
There's
it?
an update every day. So he's going to be filling us in a little bit about, you know, what to do with these updates, when to start doing that, and you know what's going to make your experience more user friendly. I think when we're on the computer.
Right, and more affordable as well.
Oh, that's huge.
That's true. Windows is a big thing that everyone's talking about. Windows 10 and should I, shouldn't I? And so he's got some advice for us on that.
I'm really excited to hear those tips. Definitely.
Much needed, right. And we'll also be visiting with Joe Conan out at Conan Automotive. He's out in Stoughton. And just talking about the basics of an oil change. And it got me thinking, you know, we wouldn't go to a different doctor every time we needed to go for
Right.
a checkup, right?
Exactly.
Because you want that continuity in care. And as things change in your body, your doctor knows you and your history. Why don't we do the same thing with our cars?
cars.
Right.
You know, I don't know how long you keep your car. I kind of keep my car a long time. And
My dad says for every $1,000 you spend on a car, it should last you a year.
Oh wow.
I'll have
my
to
gosh.
think about that
Well,
one.
then, yeah, that continuity of care is definitely going to be important. I mean, just keeping up with it to save yourself trouble down the road too. And I think just even being knowledgeable about what you need to do for your car, what do you need to be on the lookout for, and what do you know, what background knowledge do we need so that we can stay on top of that and know when to go in, when to do oil changes,
Right.
things like that. I know that I'm a little lacking in that department, so I could definitely use some advice from him over there.
And there is some mixed information of how frequent you are supposed to do oil changes anymore these days,
yeah.
because our cars are changing and the types of oil and that kind of thing.
So many different
Absolutely.
options, synthetic, all those things.
Well, he'll be guiding us with all those tips of what to do and when to do it.
Great.
So stay tuned for a great show. We are coming up with Tim with Apple Wellness next. Welcome back to Girl Talk. Our discussion turns to inflammation right now with Tim O'Brien of Apple Wellness. We know that inflammation is a natural part of our body's immune system, but like so many things, too much can be a bad thing. In fact, chronic inflammation is now known to be the root cause of many diseases, including cancer. So welcome, Tim. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming in and talking about chronic inflammation and
Absolutely.
maybe a good solution for it.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about it, because this is a real big thing in the medical community right now.
Yeah, most people wouldn't know it, but the root of disease is inflammation. The root of pain, inflammation. Cognitive issues like dementia, Alzheimer's, heart disease, diabetes. It's inflammation related. Wow. So as
So many
inflammation's on the
things.
increase, all those risks go up as well. Yeah, absolutely. So when we move forward, anti-inflammatory foods, for example, it's just what we eat can either increase or decrease inflammation. Supplements that we take can either increase or decrease inflammation. Yeah.
Such a big topic right now.
And this is kind of a silent thing that, we think of inflammation as you get an injury and then you have a swollen wrist or some redness.
This is like internal, correct?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, yep, yeah, it's just not always swelling. People are like, well, I don't feel like I have any inflammation, but it can just be, I'm doing pretty good,
Hidden killer.
For real, yeah.
So you were talking about food and supplements. What can you recommend for us?
Yeah, so the most powerful, or if not number one in the top few, most powerful anti-inflammatories on the planet is curcumin, which is the active ingredient from the Indian spice turmeric. It's what colors curry.
Okay.
And that is being found to be the most powerful anti-inflammatory that cleanses your whole system of inflammation on a daily basis.
And we've kind of picked your brain about curcumin before. I still have to come get on curcumin. I mean, you've started doing this, right, Janet?
I have. I
Yeah.
have concerns in my family history of rheumatoid arthritis and dementia.
Sure.
And so I thought this would be a good preemptive strike. There's a lot of research actually that's backing this.
And I was wondering
Yeah.
that, like, is this just sort of a trend kind of thing, or is this like here to stay? Is this supplement really important, and you think it's got the longevity?
Yeah, great question, because different nutrients kind of will take the spotlight for a few years and maybe even more of a marketing thing and then sort of die off. Well, Ajay Ogul from Baylor University, we're talking about years and years, 23 human clinical trials, and there's literally thousands of human clinical trials worldwide on curcumin as the most powerful anti-inflammatory. And they're finding that the delivery system is everything. And so you can get curcumin in different forms. You can have it in the turmeric, the spice form, the extract curcumin, or even something further called a BCM95 curcumin, and absorption's everything. And so we're actually going to show a graph on the TV of the different types of absorption. And so if you get the active ingredient out called curcuminoids and blend it with turmeric essential oils, you'll absorb it up to 40% better. And so that's why they're using this to even treat cancers and disease as a whole.
I always wonder that about absorption, kind of steered another direction, but that's a really good point, because a lot of times we're taking all these supplements, and are they doing any good? Are they getting
Right.
to our bodies,
Is it
or are
working?
we just, basically flushing the money down the toilet? And I think
Right.
that's a lot of the concern. So it's really important that, and nice that you have that information about how to best actually utilize the supplements.
Absolutely. Delivery system is everything. So to answer the question, it is not a trend. This is here to stay and actually finding its way into the medical community. Very exciting.
For real.
So you mentioned BCM95?
Yeah, yep.
Okay. So if you go to any natural or health food store, you're going to see different types of turmeric and curcumin in there.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you're saying there's just this one that's been proven effective in all these studies.
Yeah, and in many of these studies, they keep using that BCM. Baylor University, for example, keeps using that BCM95 form because it absorbs the best. And we'll hopefully show another graph too that shows that it's actually 200 to 500 times more absorbent than turmeric, the spice it comes from, and 10 times the absorption from a standard curcumin extract. So yeah, the form is everything, the delivery system is everything.
We're almost out of time. So talk about your pricing real quick.
Oh yeah, so everyone's kind of selling something, and so what we did at Apple Wellness is we just have a price match guarantee now, where we always want to be the best price. So if you ever find a better one, you can kind of just let us know. And for me, that makes me feel safe when I can go into a store. Target's doing that now, for example. It's like, yes, where I just can feel that piece about getting the best price. So.
That's nice
Yeah.
to know
Yeah.
that. So we can
That
still
is
come
so
to
great.
you if by chance we see a better price, you'll give it to us,
Yeah.
and we appreciate
That
that.
includes
Absolutely.
online too.
And I want to mention
Online
real quick
pricing,
before we
yeah.
go, Tim, you always do such a great job of answering our questions. So for folks at home, email myself and ask Tim your questions. We'll ask him on air. So you can email me, Jessa, at cw57.tv, and we'll make sure and ask him. Tim, the expert from Apple Wellness. Thanks.
For sure.
Thanks, Tim. We'll be right back with Madison Geeks talking about technology.
Hi, and welcome back to Girl Talk. We've got Kalal Cunningham here from Madison Geeks. He's going to tell us all about kind of the new technology trends and all the things that I have no idea about. Okay, so let's get started because we've got a lot of material right off the bat. Can you tell us a little bit about Windows 10?
Okay.
What is it? Should I upgrade to it?
Right. So Windows 10
What
is...
am I missing?
Yep. And I don't think you're going to be missing much. Windows 10 is the new Microsoft operating system.
Okay.
Right now, a lot of users who are using Windows 7, Windows 8, they're getting these little pop-up notifications in the bottom right-hand corner that's saying upgrade to Windows 10. And so this is Microsoft's pushing this, and they're really trying to get rid of the Windows 8, which has been a nightmare for them as a company in whole. So they're trying to push people into Windows 10. Supposedly, it's supposed to be a fusion of Windows 7 and Windows 8. So be more stable and workable like Windows 7, and maybe have some of the visual cues that Windows 8 brought to it, and kind of fuse it, and then hopefully make their customers happy again. But we'll see. I usually am telling people don't rush to download it. Wait until hearing what the community is saying, what others are saying, and because you don't know. I mean, you might go to it and it just breaks everything.
Right. Well, I was just going to ask your opinion because I mean, I have an Apple, but they're always telling me to upgrade and like do it, and I'm like, well, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. I'll just wait a while, or maybe I'm lazy. I'm not sure.
Upgrades. The trick is you can't always just blindly go into an upgrade. Just because it pops up and says upgrade, you can't always do it. Especially Apples have this issue as well. Some of the older ones, even with iPhones as well, you upgrade it and it makes the machine slower. It's just not functional. So always do your research. Ask the tech friend. Ask the geeks. Do some Google searching. And just see if that upgrade is going to really be compatible with your machine, if that's the way you want to go.
Sometimes though, if you skip one, you end up behind a step, and then it's harder to get up to date.
Well, some of the newer updates they try to be in pattern. So if you're skipping one, it's going to complain that you can't. You have to go through the older one and get yourself up there. Sometimes it lets you do it and it does break things, but try not to skip it. If you're going to do an update, you want to try to go through the recommended levels to get to that. Yeah, do it right. There you go.
Okay.
Regarding Windows, what if someone is still on XP?
Yeah, XP won't be able to jump up. XP is no longer being supported, but we do have a lot of commercial clients that and residential clients as well. But it's functional still, and it's just more prone to getting viruses. And once a virus is on there, it can get hacked pretty hard. So try to keep your Windows XP machine off the internet, which is near impossible. Yeah. But it is prone to getting hacked, and it's not able to utilize internet technologies that are out there, web technologies, and definitely not able to utilize faster speeds.
So better start thinking about
the upgrade.
Sounds like it'll be a lot more user friendly too if we start going through that updating process.
You got it.
Awesome. So staying on that same train of thought regarding Microsoft, can we talk a little bit about Microsoft Office? I know I love my PowerPoint, my Excel, my Word, but lately I've been seeing some other names out there like Office 365, and even a little bit about free alternatives. So can you talk to us about that a bit?
Of course. So everybody's heard of Microsoft Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and some of the Access database. There's other things that it brings to the table. Now, what Microsoft has done is saying, okay, instead of you just going and buying this software and having it forever, they're turning it more into a service, and that's Office 365.
Sure.
So they're charging you, if you're a student, I think it's somewhere in the $60 range. But if you're just kind of an everyday user, it's going to be $100 a year. And the idea is, as long as you're paying $100 a year, then you have access to all the Microsoft tools.
So subscription-based.
Subscription-based, yep,
awesome.
Exactly. So for them, it's a good idea because it allows for them to keep customers going. It prevents people from having like a 10-year-old version of Word and just dragging it on forever. But at the same time, it's going to cost you more money in the end as well. So there are free alternatives. There's OpenOffice, LibreOffice.
Yeah, I've used that before.
Yep. And
I've used OpenOffice before too.
Yep. So it's really good stuff, and it's a full word processing suite. You get the Word documents that you can access. You can even access Microsoft documents. You can edit them. You can create them through these other alternatives as well. So this is not for the heavy users of Office Suite. This is going to be more so for users who want to save some money, maybe families who the kids need to do some homework, but it doesn't have to be necessarily in that particular Word format. So yeah, OpenOffice, LibreOffice, and those are two that I highly recommend.
Holy cow, that went so fast.
Yes.
I can't wait till next time you come back because I always learn something new.
Of course.
If you at home have your own questions for Kalal and Madison Geeks, please email us at girltalk@madisongeeks.com and we'll get your questions on the show for next time. Stay tuned, we've got more Girl Talk coming up for Conant Automotive talking to us about oil changes.
Welcome back to Girl Talk. As promised, we are going to talk to you a little bit about oil changes. We'll get some basics from the masters over here at Conant Automotive. And joining me is Joe himself. And how are you doing today?
Great.
So, we got to pick your brain as usual about some car things that we've got questions about.
Sure.
So what I want to know today is kind of give us some basics about oil changes. Everybody needs them.
Right.
So walk us through just some real basic things about what you're doing when we come in and get an oil change.
Well, it's pretty basic. What we do is obviously we just get the vehicle in the air, and we do a lot of basics up above as far as checking all the lights. We go through a simple, write down a list here as far as what we should check and so on, just to make sure everything is safe on your vehicle. We check as far as the suspension goes, we check the rear shocks, the front struts. We make sure there's no oil leaks, make sure the exhaust is intact and where it should be. Just check out the basic integrity of the underneath the vehicle along with like the rust condition that happens in Wisconsin.
Okay.
We take a look at the tires, tell you the condition of the tires, just basically tell you the condition of the integrity of the whole vehicle.
So there's a lot more to an oil change than just the oil change.
Yeah, it's not just simple as just pulling the plug and changing the filter. No,
Right.
You got to check things out. A lot of people make mistakes by, it's fun to do your own oil change at home, but there's things that you just can't check when you're rolling underneath your vehicle in your garage on a Saturday afternoon.
Well, being able to get underneath the car like this, for one, has to be beneficial. I would have no idea what I'd be looking for, but being able to be under here and get the full picture. And talk to me a little bit, you mentioned that you look for rust. So how common is that being in Wisconsin after a long winter?
Well, the biggest thing is not so much the rust of the body panels, but like the rust of the brake lines.
Okay.
Especially the brake lines, because there's not an indicator on your dash saying my brake lines are rusty and they're about to blow.
Right.
So when we look at the brake lines like on this vehicle, they're hidden up underneath here, but we look at those, and if there's bad spots, we'll let the customer know. It's like, okay, you got to keep an eye on this.
Right.
And it's getting to be more and more common now because people are driving their cars, 100, 200,000 miles,
Right.
and it's
a good
starting
thing,
to catch up. Right.
But yeah, absolutely, those are some of those safety things that we might not know to look for.
Right.
And we might not know to ask those questions whether or not our shop is checking for those things. So
Exactly.
awesome. Okay. Well, good pointers. Kind of walk me through just the process of an oil change. I really don't know what you do.
Well, now that the vehicle's up in the air, so half of it's actually done. We do a lot of checks when the vehicle's done. We check all the fluid conditions levels, top off the washer fluid, check all the lights, check the wipers, just basically check all the things that need to be looked at that you'd probably overlook. When the technician starts, he'll start by draining the oil, taking the filter out. We'll basically note the condition of the oil too, because a lot of times if you got like a leak as far as coolant leak into the engine, the antifreeze would come out first. So it's good to note the condition of the oil. If it's really sludgy, maybe advise the customer that they have to get their oil changed more frequently other than what they're doing now.
Yeah.
We look at like the condition of the hoses, especially like the radiator hoses going to the radiator, make sure that they're in good shape, not leaking.
Okay.
Just the biggest thing, like I like to stress, is doing maintenance versus repairs. Because let's say if we did this oil change and just kind of blew through it, and the customer takes it and they're on their way to work or they're coming back from the grocery store on a Sunday night and the radiator hose fails or something else happens that we should have seen when we did the oil change, well, that's the important thing. So I mean, yeah, an oil change, if you're paying like a $20 oil change, that's what you're getting.
Right.
But if you pay, you know,
Get what you pay for.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
right.
I mean, they're not looking at the things that need to be looked at.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, in our shop here, we're going to note everything, and sometimes we may be high, but we're not the one that's going to judge it. The customer's going to be judging what they want to fix on their vehicle.
Absolutely.
And if we didn't tell them what's going on, we're not doing a good job.
So you're going to make those recommendations
Right.
on all facets of the vehicle based on
Correct.
what you're seeing while you're doing the oil change.
Yeah.
And that's really what's, I think, important, because a lot of us, me, guilty, bring their vehicle in when they need an oil change or when their check engine light's on. And other than that, that's about it as far as when
Right.
you're going to get things looked
And,
at. So
and like with the 29-minute oil changes, like a lot of companies try to promote, you can't do a thorough job. You really can't. I mean, yeah, you're getting what you pay for, and you want it done fast. Well, the old saying, haste makes waste. Exactly.
absolutely.
I just soon take 45 minutes or an hour, check the vehicle out complete, and then let the customer know that, yeah, you're good to go, or yeah, you got to address these problems.
Absolutely.
And it just makes sense.
And that's always a good reminder when we're talking to you is, it's really about staying on top of it and getting ahead of those repairs, trying to get the longevity out of your vehicle rather than waiting until something is wrong
Right.
or something has gone terribly wrong. That's when the expense really goes up as well.
Oh yeah, it goes up a lot.
Yeah.
Double, triple, whatever. But it's nice to know, it's nice to know if you're going to have a problem versus, oh my God, I'm going to wake up to a problem.
Right,
So-
absolutely. And I got another question about oil changes while we're on the topic. So some of the newer vehicles, mine isn't really all that new. I've got over 100,000 miles on my car, but I do have the notification of when I need an oil change. So it actually tells me percentage
Right.
of time to oil change. So tell me a little bit about the difference there if you can, because it tells me I need an oil change long after the recommended mileage. What are your thoughts?
I really, and this is my personal experience, for whatever, my years in the business, I would ignore it.
Really?
If a customer asked me that, I would ignore it. I would stick to your mileage versus that percentage.
Okay.
It's just, I like mileage.
Yeah.
I'm from the old school, and yeah, we do either 4,500, or if you run the full synthetic, go 6. But I don't really believe in that. But the manufacturers say they spend a lot of time and money, and the dealerships may say that do this. But I think it's going to come back to haunt them.
Well,
I really
and I
do.
think the other element there too is if you're a procrastinator like myself, what happens is you wait until it tells you you need an oil change. You may already be really past the time that you need an oil change, and then however many days or sometimes weeks then still goes by
Right.
where you're running out of that oil. So
Well, I
that's
mean,
tough.
if for just quickly on that oil, if somebody can't, if you went out and bought a brand new vehicle today and you wanted to keep it for 150 or 200,000 miles, maybe that might be a lot to you, but I would suggest running a full synthetic oil right from the beginning. Change it every 6,000 miles. Don't worry about that indicator as far as percentage, and you'll get the life out of that engine. I mean, the products that they're building nowadays are superior to even what they built 5 years ago.
Okay.
So
Great
just keep up the
pointers, Joe.
maintenance.
Well, thank you so much for walking
Thank
me
you.
through it. I greatly appreciate it. If you need some pointers, come on out to Stoughton and check out Conant Automotive. Joe's the master. Thanks to Joe, thanks to all our guests, and thank you for watching. Please join us next time.